Well, I did not see this coming, man. I did not see this coming. You know, this topic was so damn newsworthy that I'm sorry, I had to give my thoughts on it for you guys. I play Pokemon. I watched the anime of Pokemon. I did do a few episode reviews of Pokemon Journeys on my channel. I kind of stopped watching like at the beginning part of the series when I thought it was kind of boring, but later on it does pick up. So technically right now I'm just watching the English dub version of it. So yeah, I know I'm waiting. I wait for episodes when they drop and everything on Netflix, but regardless, we got a huge, massive update in terms of the Pokemon anime and where it's going to go. I'm still at a loss of words, even just looking at it and just seeing this, and my goodness, man. The phrase, all good things must eventually come to an end, or all good things come to an end, that statement is literally true. It doesn't matter what genre you're going. If it's a TV show, a good TV show eventually has to end. A movie, a movie franchise has to end up ending. You get trilogies, and then guess what? That movie franchise is over. Animes, really good ones, are the manga counterparts of those really good animes. They come to an end. People who play sports, these Hall of Fame-like players, they all come to an end. All good things come to an end. And in this case, this goes for Pokemon. The Pokemon anime, after today's episode aired, which I haven't checked out, pretty much it confirmed at the end of today's episode, it had an announcement. And the announcement is that this is pretty much Ash's last journey, and he will be on, and the Pokemon anime will be going on break. It will return, or actually return next week for like some sort of like special episode or something like that surrounding Ash. But then in January, it will continue Pokemon Journeys in this extended edition, winding down Ash's storyline in his efforts or his road to becoming a Pokemon Master. And that will take place the first episode will release on January 13th, and it'll be an 11 episode special series where pretty much Ash is going to go, Ash is going to, I guess, go around and, find out what it means to be a Pokemon Master. And surprisingly enough, it looks like Brock and Misty will be in this. And I'm also predicting that where this 11 episode series could go is, I think for each episode, Ash is going to go to the different regions that he's traveled to, reunite with his friends from that said region, and then just, tour the region a bit with them, reminiscing about the times they had traveling and the times they had, traveling together throughout the region and all the memories they've had. And maybe through this whole thing, Ash truly understands, the more and more he's doing this, he truly understands what it means to be a Pokemon Master. Like, maybe that's the case. Honestly, I think that's probably what's going to happen. Maybe episodes 1 and 2 can cover Kanto and Johto, which means Misty and Brock. Episode 3, I'm not saying you bring Brock, but if Brock comes with Ash and says, "Hey Ash, where you going?" And if Ash is like, "Hey, I'm going to Hoenn." "Oh, really? Hey, let me go with you, man. Let's go see some old friends." And he gets to Hoenn in the 3rd episode, meets up with May and Max. They do the traveling thing. They have the memories back from the advanced generation, like Misty, Brock, and Ash had memories of their original adventures from the original series. Then after Hoenn, Brock and Ash, I guess, would travel to Sinnoh. Same thing, rinse and repeat. They've find Dawn, run into Dawn. it's not even enough. Dawn was like damn near a whole ass character in Pokemon Journey. She showed up majority out of all the other previous companions, which is actually shocking the most. So that's the case. They same thing, rinse and repeat. They have their memories from Sinnoh. Maybe they run into Cynthia actually, because she was actually a big part of Pokemon Journeys, the anime as well. That could be a case. Maybe they run into Paul. You know, he was in an episode in Pokemon Journeys. Then that leads to Ash traveling to Unova by himself. He probably, finds Iris, who's the champion of Unova, who's willing to, like, all right, I have some time to go with you a bit. They go to Silent. Silent comes back, which I think would make his first anime appearance. I forgot if they showed him in the one episode out when Ash beat Leon. I don't think they did. I don't remember. But they, Silent can come back again. That's not my favorite. And that's not my favorite version of the cast and crew. But regardless, that would be nice and bittersweet to see that. Then obviously he goes to Kalos. He can reunite with Serena. Bonnie and Clement. They can remember the memories they had. Goes to Alola. That, memories and everything there. And then if they want to do, I guess, him having one more, episode or reuniting episode with, Go and Chloe, that's fine. And then I guess if you want to say the last episode exactly strictly for Ash and Pikachu, that's the case. I don't know where I feel that's might be the direction they go, but yeah. And then obviously the last announcement at the end of this video, which came out it came out 6 a.m., practically 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 or 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time out here in the States. I actually ended up waking myself up super early in the morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I tried to put myself back to sleep. I couldn't. And of course, because I couldn't do that, I ended up falling asleep around 6 a.m., which makes me wake up at damn near 8 a.m. So I guess I get those 2 hours of sleep back. So yeah, they dropped it super early in the morning because the episode got done airing in Japan. And at the end of this whole announcement about Ash going away and everything, this is the final journey for Ash. We get a confirmation of a brand new Pokemon anime. Now, if you don't know, if you guys have not understood anything that's been going on with like the Pokemon, animation, staff and everything, typically what we've been seeing like the past few years is we'd see the main series anime, and then we would get like these short, really visually beautiful, like little mini anime episodes, based around the video games or something like that. And it'll only be like probably like 10-minute episodes and everything, like Pokemon Twilight Wings, something like that, pretty much. We would typically get that alongside the anime, but they weren't really long running. They were like short little story episode things. But no, this isn't like that. This is a legit like Pokemon anime. New characters, this is gonna be a new adventure. Just absolutely crazy. And I'm just like, wow. The Pokemon company, the anime company really went there. They really are, for a better term, in fact, they're moving on, retiring Ash for a new protagonist and a new story. Now, the characters' names are Rico and Roy, but I'm looking at this article. Her name's called Liko and Roy. I guess either or will work. Liko and Roy, or Rico and Roy, either or. And this new Pokemon anime is going to be centered around them. Seems like the Paladinian starters, and we're getting a Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet anime, like a legit Pokemon Scarlet and Violet anime. Now, before I give my predictions on where this new Pokemon anime could go with Rico and Roy, my thoughts on just this whole Ash stuff. I'm still freaking shocked by this news, but it was absolutely funny. In this whole Master 8's tournament, there were rumors. There were people out there giving rumors and saying, I've been hearing things that this might potentially be Ash's like last anime. This might be the last time we potentially see Ash as in the anime. And some people thought it was the case. Some people, I would like myself, I was like, I looked at those. I'm like, nah, Pokemon wouldn't do that. The Pokemon company would not do that. They would not freaking go a different direction. They would not go and say, all right, Ash's story's done. I really believe, like, nah, the same formula that's been working for them for 25 years has made them money and got them a lot of viewers and everything. To the point when Ash has made these big accomplishments, recently, like winning the Alola League Championship, being the world champion now, in the Pokemon world. Those things were trending on Twitter. I remember when he won the freaking Alola League champion, and he became the first ever, Alola regions champion. That shit was talked about on fucking Twitter, and it was blowing up. It was literally freaking trending. People were talking about that. I think even ESPN freaking tweeted about, like, oh, after all these years, after 20 years at the time, Ash is now a Pokemon champion. People were talking about it. And then even when he beat Leon and it was announced that, people were still talking about it. It was trending. All the hit sites were freaking talking about this. And I'm like, there's no way that they're going to stop this. There's no way they're going to stop his characters. I guess his story. Lo and behold, Pokemon's like, yep, we're pulling the plug. And I was just like, wow, they really have absolute confidence that they can move on without pretty much two of their biggest mascots of the series that advertise. Like, yes, Pikachu is the main advertiser of their brand. Like, that's the first Pokemon they'll put front and center is Pikachu. After that, especially if you talk about the anime side of things, Ash is probably their next most marketable character. In terms of the anime, because he literally is the freaking anime. He literally is everything that was built up. I didn't originally watch like that very first episode of Pokemon like everybody else did on TV, but when I eventually did see Pokemon, and my journey with Pokemon was interesting because I watched a few bits of Pokemon episodes, the original series. My mom told me to stop watching. I think at the time, people, some parents thought, Pokemon were like demon creatures and everything, and they would purposely tell kids don't watch that stuff, and I was like told not to watch that. Eventually, after years passed, when my mom, I guess, got a little bit lenient, I started watching Pokemon again, and I then went back, rewatched the original series, because back when I don't know if Boomerang's still a channel, but back when Boomerang was a channel, I remember when I was younger, I would watch, they actually did like the original series, then the Johto stuff, the Johto content. Then they went into the advanced content, Battle Frontier and everything. And then practically, I already knew the storyline from freaking Sinnoh on, because I did watch the Sinnoh stuff. And then when I still remember when Pokemon used to be on Cartoon Network at like coming on at 9 a.m. in the morning. I had to wake up early to make sure I caught the new episode of Pokemon. Whether it was the Sinnoh stuff or Black and White, even though I didn't like Black and White as much, and then X and Y ended up, being on there on Cartoon Network, and then eventually the Pokemon anime moved from Cartoon Network over to Disney XD, where they showed predominantly all the Sun and Moon series on Disney XD, and then next thing you know, you find out, oh, Pokemon's moving to Netflix. So I've been watching Pokemon Journeys till this day on Netflix, and everything. So, yeah, man, that was my journey with Pokemon, alongside playing the games and everything. But in terms of my journey of the anime, that's been, from the point I was a kid. So, I practically, in a way, grew up watching this show, and it's really, pretty emotional. It's pretty emotional for me that, a fan favorite character that I like is going away for good. But it's like I said earlier in this video, all good things come to an end. And man, it's kind of a bittersweet feeling. Like, it's a bittersweet feeling because it's like you don't want it to end, but he's done practically everything he could do. And listen, Ash has won gym badges from practically damn near all the regions, really truly 6 of the 9 regions that are out there, because in Pokemon Journeys, it was mostly about him going through all the different regions, so he never did the Galar gym challenges. And then obviously he didn't go to Paldea, so he never did the Paldea gym challenges as well. So he's missing out on 2 sets of gym badges. Alola didn't have any gym badges. They just had trials and things like that. But he did that. He's like the orange. He won the Orange League, so he's the Orange League's champion. He's also he won the Battle Frontier. He beat I forgot the guy who ran the Brandon. He beat Brandon, the Battle Frontier, the head Battle Frontier brain. So he conquered the Battle Frontier. He practically entered in damn near every Pokemon League, you know, and some of them getting to the point where he gets almost to the finals. A few of them he gets to the finals, and then one of them he actually ends up winning. You know, well, really, actually, no, 2 he ends up winning if we're counting the Masters 8 tournament. You know, he has the Alola League champion. Now, also, he's the world champion after beating pretty much Leon, who was deemed as undefeated in the series. And when you look at the standpoint, you can clearly see there's really nothing else for the character of Ash to do. He's pretty much at this point so strong as a Pokemon battler. There's no point to continue a story on. There's no point for him to go to Paldea as the world champion and just do his whole story again. You know, and plus he's probably popular too, so he's gonna get a lot of fame and everything. And I always even think on my own time, it's like, well, if Ash is like the world champion, he goes to a whole new region and everything, and he's deemed as the world champion, you know, when he goes up against people, he's more than likely has to win more than likely has to win those fights. Because just say for example, if there was a Paldea Scarlet and Violet anime with Ash in it, and Nimona was actually in-game character from the games, ended up being a character in the anime, and she is actually the rival. Same personality, but she ends up beating Ash. You know, like, you know, introductory episode with her starter against Pikachu. Well, then Nimona could go out and say, I beat the world champion. That means I'm the world champion. So it pretty much puts Ash in a corner to where he cannot lose, like, any Pokemon leagues, any battles. The series would practically pretty much be damn predictable. And I think that's also the reason why, I guess, starting off the anime the first few times, it took him a while to get to at least Sun and Moon, all these years, literally 20 years. Maybe that's the reason why they didn't have Ash win all these Pokemon leagues, because they knew if he was winning these Pokemon leagues, then that means going forward, the fan base will expect him to win this current Pokemon league. And maybe looking back on it, maybe that's actually a smart decision, because if that was the case, if he won, like, say, Kanto's Pokemon League and then Johto's Pokemon League, and then he goes to home and wins the own league, that's a lot of accomplishments. You would have to end off his story right then and there. And like I said, his team is so freaking strong. Pretty much, you know, every team he's had in each of the regions, he typically has that one really strong Pokemon. Kanto was Charizard. Kanto and Johto was Charizard. Hoenn was Sceptile. Sinnoh was Infernape. Unova, I believe his best Pokemon, I think, was Krookodile in that. Let's be honest, I think that was like his big it's either Krookodile or Pikachu, to be honest, for his Unova team. His Unova team, I think, is by far the weakest team he's got out of his entire journey. Kalos was his Greninja. Kalos was his Greninja. Alola, it was kind of a tug and pull and everything. It looked like Litten slash Torracat, which ended up evolving into Incineroar. Looked like it was going to be his main Pokemon, but you know, and then you had Lycanroc. But I think, again, with that team, just like the Unova region, you can make the case that Pikachu was the main Pokemon for Ash, or his main strongest Pokemon for Ash in that generation. And then obviously the Pokemon Journeys anime, his strongest Pokemon, his strongest mascot Pokemon was his Lucario. So yeah, I just feel like the Pokemon company, they're like, we've done everything we could with the Ash character. There's nothing else of story left we can tell. The least we can do is owe it to the fans. Give him an 11 episode conclusion to his story, which I really do hope on the 11th episode we do get some sort of time skip, like maybe 10 years down the road. What is it? We see a much older Ash fighting against a top trainer from the series we've seen. Like, that would be cool, and we see him maybe potentially using some older Pokemon and everything. And I think that would be a cool way to end off the series. And end off the series for Ash's journey. And that would be great. That would be really great, man. But it's so bittersweet. It's so shocking that this news came out. I did not see this coming. I did not expect this. And it's the number one thing. It's literally one of the number one things everybody's, talking about. And they're still talking about to this day. Now, my thoughts on the new anime. I'm honestly very excited for it, to see this new different approach to the Pokemon anime series without Ash. Now, does this mean Ash is completely done? We'll never see him again? I can honestly see Ash being like a cameo and like a future in like maybe an episode here and there, just to be like a callback to like, oh, yada yada yada. The only thing is we don't know if it's going to be the same looking Ash or maybe an much older version Ash. Hopefully it's the latter half. I hope it's kind of a much older Ash, since it's kind of his whole story arc is done and everything. Now, I've seen some people on YouTube and even Twitter throw around the subject like, maybe this could be like some sort of thing. For every new Pokemon game, there could be a new Pokemon anime, and everything that's obviously structured around that said region and everything. Could be the case. Maybe that's potentially the thing. But it's interesting. It is interesting. Now, Rico and Roy, they look like interesting characters to say the least. But the one thing I'm actually interested, it looks like basically even on the short preview teaser trailer, it looks like Rico, the girl, is gonna be, I guess, the main character. Plus on the poster, she is front and center of the poster. So it looks like she more than likely may be the main character of this new Pokemon series. So I don't know if she's gonna be, I guess, the new anime protagonist going on for the next 25 years like Ash was. But hey, maybe that's the case. Now, the interesting thing is, I'm just throwing this out there. This is just pure speculation. And I've been seeing it on Twitter too. One of the talking points I've been seeing around in the Pokemon community is, what if Rico is secretly Ash's daughter? And I was thinking about that. I'm like, and even before people started talking about that on Twitter, I was even thinking, I'm like, what if Rico is Ash's daughter and they're going to shift him from his story to his child's story? It would make sense. And I was even just on my own time, I was just thinking, I'm like, well, if Ash is gone, well then what could they do? I was always thinking on my own time, I was like, maybe they could have it to where Ash has a kid in the future and they focus the story on her, similar to that, I guess, of like, I guess, a Boruto. I don't watch Boruto, so something like that, a next generation's like storyline where you still have probably some members of the cast from the original series there, but you have more of a focus on the main protagonist from the last series child, and everything, passing on the torch to the next generation. I've seen that. I also saw a theory that, maybe she was inspired by Ash and everything, and she saw what Ash did in the World Championship, which inspires her to become a trainer to one day battle Ash. That could be a thing. But I'm really thinking, what if this is Ash's daughter? If you look at the design, one is the hair color is black, so black matches up with Ash's hair. Now, the one thing that people have been, especially watching this last video, I think I watched this Tyranitar Tube video talking about it, and I also saw this on Twitter. They make a mention. She has a hairpin in her hair, and the way the hairpin logo looks, it looks like that of Ash's original baseball hat, and the same like triangle type of thing, the logo on his original design's baseball hat. When I saw it, I was like, oh. Some people think, oh, maybe she cut out that from his hat since she would be her kid, his Ash's kid, she cut that out and she just has that as a hairpin. Or maybe it's just a hairpin. A lot of people look into that. That potentially could be a case. Another thing is, somebody made a mention like, oh, the necklace she has, look at the center. It looks like a thunderstone. And if we know anything about Pokemon, Ash has carried a thunderstone, and it was a way to just say, well, Pikachu, you want to evolve, just let me know, and I have this thunderstone in my backpack. Maybe that's like a thunderstone that Ash gave to Rico, if that's the case, that it is his daughter, and she just turns into a necklace. That would be nice. Now, again, I don't know if this is the case, that Rico could be Ash's daughter. If she's not, it doesn't hurt me. If she is, I'd honestly be over the fucking moon if Rico was Ash's daughter. I would honestly be like, oh shit. Now, the one thing that, if that's the case, we know what's going to be the number one freaking talking point of if Rico is Ash's daughter. And if that's the case, and if you're wondering, okay, then why is she going to Paldea? Maybe Ash could be like, he's already like an established champion. Maybe we get some sort of flashback scene with Rico saying, like, saying, hey, you should go on a journey, on a Pokemon journey. I did that when I was your age. I had a lot of fun and made friends around all the different regions. You should go try that. And maybe he's like, here, go to Paldea. There's a school here. I'll get started on your enrollment, and I can at least enroll you. Just show up and say, I'm enrolling here to the academy, the school academy, and you can learn things. And he can even say like, hey, I went to a Pokemon school out in Alola, with your uncle Kukui, and everything. So, or where your cousin is at, which is Kukui's son, and everything. Could do that, and sends her off, and she goes on her own journey. Now, like I said, that's the case. If this is Ash's daughter, the number one speculation that's going to be going around is the fact that, well, then, if this is Ash's daughter, Rico's Ash's daughter, who is Rico's mother? And obviously, this is going to be the number one talking point in the freaking anime. Now, I'm just saying this. Hypothetical sense. If Rico is Ash's daughter, again, look at the design. What is her eye color? Her eye color is blue. So her eye color is blue, and I'm trying to look at the poster of Pokemon again, because they also showed like a new poster that is an homage to the old poster of Pokemon, the anime series. But I believe, let me see, let me just look up Misty from Pokemon. Now, Misty, if you look at her design, Misty has she has more of a greenish bluish eye, but you can see that she has more green in the eyes than blue. Now, Serena, on the other hand, if you guys know the Serena design, Serena actually has blue eyes. She has straight up blue eyes. So, I'm just throwing it out there. Again, if you don't, hate me in the comment section if you want to hate me, but I have a sneaking suspicion if Rico is Ash's daughter, I think the mother is going to be Serena. I really believe the mother is going to be Serena, because then that will start a whole shitstorm in the community. I know, because they're going to be like, how the fuck can he not marry Misty? Misty was the first girl. But the only reason why I go with Serena is because Serena has a crush on him, she likes him, and then two, she's the only Poke girl in the canon of the series, as much as people don't want to admit it, if they're not a Serena fan. She's the only Poke girl in the community that was shipped with Ash and practically straight up expressed her feelings and even kissed him. I think if Rico is Ash's daughter, Rico is gonna be the daughter of Ash and Serena Ketchum. So it's gonna be Rico Ketchum, which it's gonna be interesting. There was, you know, they really don't say last names for the other characters, but you know, what was Ash always called? Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town. Now, you know, she ends up saying in her monologue when this new anime starts, and I feel like this. Now, I feel like the Pokemon Company could hide this definitely and everything, and maybe in some cases they'll silhouette her dad out as the whole theory of, oh, this could be Ash. You know, you never know. But if Rico is Ash's daughter, I think the mother is going to be Serena. The homages on her design are literally there, and then again, the blue eyes is somewhat of a dead giveaway because Serena had blue eyes when she was in the series, and even in Journey she has blue eyes. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see where this new Pokemon series goes. But I'm very excited, yet at the same time very emotional that it's finally the end of Ash, man. It really is an end of an era. I can't believe it, man. I can't believe it. But I know I've been here long enough giving you my guys' thoughts on this whole Pokemon news, and then my thoughts on where the new anime could take, and maybe some connection between Ash and Rico as potential father-daughter type of thing going on there. Like, hey, I feel like it would make perfect sense if you're gonna move on from the Ash character, to make things a little bit easier, maybe just, I don't know, have him have a kid and that be the focus. And she goes through her journey and everything. Because she has inspiration and she looks up to her dad Ash, and she wants to be as strong, if not better, than dad. And trust me, man, just imagine if that's the case, if Rico is Ash's dad, and we get eventually a battle between Ash and Rico. That would be dope. Father versus daughter, I'm just saying, that would be a great storyline that they could build there. So yeah, that would be really good. But anyways, this has been Camera 15. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the Pokemon news, your thoughts on Pokemon finally retiring Ash, your thoughts on the new anime, where it could potentially be going, and also too, do you think that Rico is Ash's daughter, or do you think this is just gonna be an anime original character? So yeah, but anyways, guys, hit the subscribe button if you want to get more Pokemon content. I definitely got to talk about this new Pokemon anime when it comes out in April, man. I definitely got to do reviews on it. So yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, and yeah, see you guys in the next video. Peace.